the biggest misconception overall is that introverts need to be more outgoing or that they don't have the skill set to be successful. And don't get me wrong, there are outgoing introverts, that does exist.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Cynthia Tant with SIP Sell Repeat in Real Estate. I'm located here in Pensacola, Florida. It's beautiful weather today, and what's today? April 7th of 2026. And I have the great pleasure of speaking with Ashley Harwood today. And she's going to tell you more about herself, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio here. She's the founder and CEO of Move Over Extroverts. Uh-oh, I'm an extrovert. Okay, Ashley, we're going to be talking about this. A real estate coaching company helping introverted agents build sustainable careers. She's the author of Move Over Extroverts, How to Build a Successful Real Estate Career as an Introvert. Really, I think this is going to be real interesting. And contributed to HousingWire and has been recognized by Inman. Let me see, Inman, where we got to go? Inman and The Close as a top real estate coach, and also serves as Director of Agent Growth at Keller Williams Boston. So, Ashley, that's what it says on paper. What do you want us to know about you a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing right now?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm happy to be here. I'm jealous of your weather. We had a freak little snowstorm this morning.
Oh, no.
April. So that was not fun. But now the sun's out. So who knows? Who knows? We're in
Okay.
Boston. So it's very hit or miss. So I've done a lot of different things in real estate. I started as an agent. I got into coaching and training and writing, speaking. And now I'm back to selling and doing a little bit of everything else on the side. So a little bit full circle.
And so, how did you first get into real estate? Was that your first career, or was one like all of us started somewhere else and got to real estate?
I would consider it my first career. I did have a
Okay.
few jobs right out of college. I worked at an insurance company for a while, and then I worked at Neiman Marcus for about 2.5 years. And that was my first job in Massachusetts. And I was all excited about working my way up in retail. And then I learned that
Oh, wow.
there was no there was no future for me in retail if I wasn't willing to move across the country and chase the different positions. So
Wow.
I didn't like that lack of flexibility. And I just knew that I was meant to be a business owner and an entrepreneur. I had actually always thought about getting into real estate ever since I was a child. And the timing was never right to have not income.
Yes,
And
yes.
then finally, the timing was right. I reached a point in my life where it made sense to quit my job, go full into real estate full time, and I've been doing that ever since.
And then, so when you made that decision, Ashley, when you came about 12 years ago, is that what I said? What you said into real estate? About
Yep,
12?
12 years.
Okay, about 12 years ago. Let's see, what year was that? Oh,
It was
okay.
2013.
It wasn't too bad. Okay, you weren't in the real high market, you weren't in the real low market, you were in that stable market in between, and then you experienced the others. When that, and just if someone's listening to you and they also have a job that they have decided, hey, I really want to get into real estate, what made you make that decision to switch?
The kicker was I had already been promoted once in my retail job, and that's because I went to my boss and I said, I need a promotion. And the job there was no promotion aside from his job.
Right.
So I looked at a different department and I said, this person has this position. It was essentially like an assistant manager. And I said, why don't you just create that for me in our department in customer service? So they did. But then after that, there was no room for growth unless I wanted to move to
Third
Dallas.
round.
Yeah,
So,
or Neiman's headquarters. So it
right.
was just like that was part of it. And I found myself answering the same questions from the same salespeople over and over again and solving the same problems over and over again. And it just got really repetitive. And I was getting bored and
Board.
frustrated. And I knew in real estate, I would not be bored.
Oh, so who told you that from the beginning? Because we can go way into that.
For some reason, I just started Googling. I don't come
Yeah.
from a real estate, my family's not in real
Oh, real
estate. I
estate.
didn't know
Yeah.
no background. I just thought it was interesting and cool. So I started Googling. I found Gary Keller's book, I'm a Real Estate
Hmm.
Agent, and I read
Yep.
that before I even enrolled in licensing classes. So that was my first introduction to what a career at a high level could look like. And then, of course, because that was the first thing I read, that was my template for what I thought that I wanted.
Well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's that book that everyone refers to. And then you, as you get involved in and start doing your real estate career, and I know that you've switched a little bit. You've switched into coaching and writing, and then you've switched back into sales. But I really want to delve into this part about helping introverted agents specifically. And what inspired you to build that Move Over Extroverts as a brand and coaching platform? That's very interesting to me.
Thank you. It is very one of a kind. And the reasoning behind it was essentially I wanted to build something that I wish had existed when I was a new agent. So I went through a lot of different training and coaching programs as an agent, as a consumer, and they were all great. But there was a missing part. And the missing part was, what do all of us do who don't want to make cold calls or do these things that we're all told we had to do? Now,
Had to do
of course, this was 12, 13 ago.
years ago. Yeah.
Things have changed. Thankfully, the training industry in real estate has gotten a lot better and more inclusive. But back then, it really didn't, there wasn't a lot for those of us who didn't fit that niche kind of personality. We didn't want to go naturally, we weren't going to go talk to everybody.
Yeah.
So, what can we do that's sustainable? So that's where it started because I'm an introvert and I had to figure out how to make this work for me. It took way longer and way more struggle than it needed to. So I wanted to
So
help shorten that learning curve for
that's
others.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What would be that first or second step for I'm excited. Because I'm more of an extrovert. I'll go talk to everybody and everybody says, "You're always telling stories about this." And I say, I enjoy it and talking to people. So, what moved you forward? Because I do have some people who are a little bit shyer, a little bit quieter, and they seem to be attracted to me as a trainer from a perspective of the personality part, I believe. And maybe
I
that's something that you faced. So, what are some of the misconceptions about the of introverts in the industry?
think the biggest misconception overall is that introverts need to be more outgoing or that they don't have the skill set to be successful. And don't get me wrong, there are outgoing introverts that does exist. There are also very shy extroverts, and those
Hmm.
have their own set of challenges because they need to be around people to manage their energy. But the biggest piece of advice that I can give is for newer agents starting out, you're going to have to try a lot of different techniques to find business. So I wouldn't just write something off because it sounds a little intimidating or scary. Give it a try and see how it feels. But at the end of the day, there are so many ways to go and find clients that you just pick a couple ones that you like doing and that aren't awful and miserable and stick with those.
There you go. You don't have to do the whole gamut, you know.
No,
Yeah.
nor should
And
you
that's what
try.
I
That's a waste of time.
exactly. So, is there a strategy, one strategy or something you could share with someone who may be listening and saying, man, that sounds, what is it that I can do? I've tried this, I've tried that, without kind of feeling inauthentic in your introverted personality? What is something that you can just share with the girls, gals?
Sure. Start with where you're already interacting with other humans in your day to day life, in your personal life, in your family life, any social life that you have, anywhere that you're around other people. Start there. And to your point, incorporating real estate stories into
Hmm.
your casual conversations can make a big difference because it reminds people that you're in the business without being annoying about it, you know?
I know I just had a buyer today that I was talking with. I usually don't do buyers at all, but not, it's just, I'm a broker, I do listings, a buyer. I just, I'm not a buyer's broker. Let's just say buyer's agent.
Fair.
Let's just say that. And so they came to me because my referral from my brother and they're buying a house in our neighborhood. I said, okay, I'll come over. We'll do this.
Mhm.
But it was so interesting because they were both older couple, myself a little bit older, and we were sitting outside in the backyard on the porch talking, and it just came. I was telling them some stories, and the gal, she was pretty quiet to begin with, and she goes, "You are so easy to talk to." I said, "Well, thank you very much," because she was a little quiet and her husband was doing all the talking. And I said, she goes, "You have some great stories." As I was talking about the neighborhood, and because I live two doors down, my mom's here. So we were trying to explain how this neighborhood is a really close-knit neighborhood. And when she said that, I said, "Thank you very much. I appreciate that." What do you find now since we're coaching? And you moved you full time more or less, or got a few coaching
I still do
clients?
a little bit of coaching. I have a
Coaching
group coaching program, and I'll do a little bit of a la carte business planning here and there for people, but it's not the core of my
for your
business.
business.
Yeah, for a while I was actually on staff with Keller Williams as a full-time coach and trainer.
Oh wow, that had to be great experience.
It was amazing experience, yes. And so that's why being back in production, I really did stop selling for a couple years altogether. And
Well,
now
let's talk about going then back. You left and now you're back. So what happened?
it was, I shouldn't have stopped. That's my lesson that I learned.
Okay.
It was not easy to come back to it.
Yeah.
I found that my skills were a little rusty. I had to relearn
Okay.
some things. The
It's a
industry had changed.
different world right now.
Different work. Yeah, it's amazing how much can change in a couple of years. But overall, it's been great because I spent years teaching other people how to get started and do this. And now it's about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I stepped back into sales. And it's just taking everything that I've been telling other people to do for several years and putting it into practice again for myself with it feels like starting fresh with all the experience that I wish I'd had the first time
Had
around.
10 years ago when you first started. Right.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting.
That's interesting to see how I left an academic career as a college professor just because I was investing in real estate and I was teaching
Mhm.
people about real estate. And I said, I as well get paid for it and stuff like that. But oh, before I forget, how can the ladies get in touch with you if they'd like? First off, referrals. I'm coming up to Boston this next sometime soon when it gets warmer. A friend of mine has
Oh,
invited me up there, so I'll be definitely looking you up.
yeah, for sure. We'll grab coffee or something.
Because coffee's
Yeah.
up, yeah. We'll sip cocktail or whatever we have to do,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I forgot where
I
I was
love it.
going with this.
Oh, so contact info
Yeah, contact. So the gals listening.
moveoverextroverts.com. If people want to come to my website, it's moveoverextroverts.com. I'm also pretty
Okay.
easy to find on social media. Ashley Harwood Realtor is my Instagram handle, and I run a Facebook group called Introverts in Real Estate. It's
That's
very,
great.
very
Everybody, introverts listening, introverts in real estate. Do you have a podcast yet?
I don't have a podcast. I have been toying with the idea of a podcast for about 7 years, and I still have not
You
done
just
it.
stop toying with it. It's so much
I
fun.
prioritized the book over the podcast.
Okay, okay.
Everybody buy the book. Please write a review. I need reviews.
Okay, okay. I'll do
But,
that. I'll glad to get on
but yeah, happy
Amazon.
to help
Is it on
referrals.
Amazon?
It's on Amazon. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I have to
Yep.
get the book to read it though.
Yeah. And if
Um,
somebody wants to move up to Boston, or you have somebody who needs to sell
yeah.
in Boston, please, I'm your girl.
Hey, also, if you've got any people interested in the Gulf Coast down here, we have some great beach houses for sale. And
Nice.
it's amazing because I talked to a lot of the gals out of California and our prices are way different. We're in the Panhandle of Florida, it's the Redneck Riviera. Our prices aren't as high, but we got the most beautiful beaches. And so a friend of mine just purchased a condo at 1.4 on the beach, right on the Gulf of Mexico. It's 2,200 square feet, and people go, "What?" And because I also do property management and short-term rentals, vacation rentals, the thing pulls in 200,000 a year. I know. And the main of our, what do you call it, vacation season is mainly from April to about August. That's when we're crammed on the beach. But the rest of the time, that's where they make all the money. It's interesting. So the Boston folks, you got to come see our beach down here. Most of the East Coast goes down the East Coast to Florida, so they don't ever come over to the Panhandle. But we have some really good beaches over here. Since you've gotten back in production, what are some of the lead gen approaches that could work for that introvert or that are currently now that may help that you didn't have available before?
So I'm not really doing anything super different from the last time around, leaning into networking.
Yeah.
What I've discovered is I'm a lot better in person than on the phone. I will get on the phone, but if I can be in person with people, it's a lot easier for me. It's more comfortable, and I'm able to make a stronger connection faster. So I've joined my local chamber of commerce, gotten involved in a referral group, obviously reached back out to all of my sphere and everyone that I hadn't talked to in a while. And
Mhm.
that's been resulting in some clients. I've also been doing a lot of mailers, which is really, and it's probably one of the most introvert friendly lead gen activity ever because the only calls you're getting are incoming calls from people who want to talk to you.
True, that's true. Because I am so sick and tired of this phone ringing 15 million times a day because it's spam calls. And it gets frustrating. And I feel sorry for all these people that are on the phones trying to call us to pick
No,
up the phone and talk to them. What do you know what your return rate has been yet on your mailers as far as are you doing postcards or letters or what are you doing?
no letters in an envelope to primarily to expired listings.
Okay.
A little bit of golden letters, a little bit of neighbor preview open house invitations, but the
Okay.
bulk of it is expired letters. And
Really?
for the past year, I need to look at the exact numbers, but it's probably been about 10 times my money that I've spent that I've gotten in return.
Wow, that's
So it's
really
a very
great.
high ROI. We also
Yeah.
were fortunate with a pretty high price point here, so
Yeah,
we
I know you do. Yeah, much
need a
higher than mine. When I said 1.2, that's like high here. Our average, I think right now is at 315 as our average price point. Not the beach properties, but
right.
in town. But our income level is a lot lower. And so that's why, people right now and I know I've told this story on other podcasts with other, so if you heard this story again, I'm going to tell it to you. My first investment foray was way back in 1994. And my brother and I bought two duplexes and a triplex over near one of the bayous for $62,000 total.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I still only own one of the duplexes because we sold the other, but it's near the water and it's paid 10 times or 100. It's paid off a lot. Let's just say that.
That's amazing.
But when people, it's really funny because I deal with a lot of investors and now there's a lot of investors coming out. I don't know if they are in your area or not, where they're trying to buy investment properties. Is it
There's some in Massachusetts. We are one of the worst states for investors, though.
really just
Yeah.
because taxes and
Taxes, the laws are very tenant friendly. It's
got
hard
it?
to evict people. And
Yeah,
oh,
we're
we have
not.
rent control on the ballot this year. That's
Oh
fun.
no. Oh really? Okay. We don't
Uh,
have that either.
we're gonna hopefully not that won't pass. It's also really expensive to buy in, so it's hard to make the numbers work for
For
investors.
investors. Yeah.
So it does happen, but we don't have a huge investor market in Mass. Most
Right.
people go to New Hampshire or Florida or the
Florida.
Carolinas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our tax system is better and things like that. And we can get used to be we could get somebody out in eviction in 15 days. Now they've made it 30. So for
Yeah,
us,
we're
it's
like 6 months to a year.
people tell me that. I can't believe it.
Same.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's wild.
I know
It's
we're a little off topic here, but
that's okay.
that's very interesting about first the direct mailers. And so what do you think now, since you've worked by training a lot of people, and I know a lot of it's harder today, as I've been interviewing also ladies, of being the solo agent.
Mm,
That a lot of people are going to teams. They want to scale up. Now, having a transaction broker or an assistant or whatever you want to say it is amazing. That takes care of a lot of the work that you don't have to do. But what do you think about how agents are maybe building their businesses maybe in the future? What do you
Are
think
you
about
talking about agents joining an existing team or agents starting their own teams?
starting their own team, maybe of seeing that the work that a solo agent may have to do may be too overwhelming today?
So, my thoughts on agents joining teams, the percentage that I see do it well and who actually make a lot of money doing it, I should say net a lot of money and profit a
Right,
lot of money.
right,
It's a small percentage. It's
right,
forming a team is much more difficult than most agents think it is
right,
because
right.
yes, you have leverage in other people helping you, you have coverage, whatever, but you also have this other layer of managing those people now
Management.
and being responsible for those people, getting them trained to your standards, which is probably not the training they got from wherever they're coming from. So if the stars align, it can work really well. I just see that happen a lot less than people think, if that makes sense.
No, because I've had a lot of people come to my brokerage that were on teams, and it just didn't work. And I'm a very small brokerage. But most of them also are very interested in the investing part of it because a big part of what I do here is the investment part. And yeah, so they're drawn to me in some way because they personally want to get into the investment. In fact, everyone here they've started or have been investing for several years or 20 years with me. It's been a long time. I think as far as forming a team or coming from a broker, I always tell people, I go, man, do some research before you jump in on a team.
Do a
Is
lot of
that kind of,
research.
yeah. And find out what are the numbers, where are you at, what is expected of you, and is it easier for you to continue as a solo agent with an assistant, maybe understands what you're doing and does what you don't like doing.
Right.
Now, if you relate that to an introvert, what does that introvert want to send off to the assistant? Let's say that you have an assistant or a transaction coordinator.
I don't think this is specific to introverts, but what I see a lot of agents naturally want to do is leverage out their lead gen, which is the one part that is really
Needs to,
tricky unless if it's mailers, that's fine. Someone else
yeah.
can do your mailers, who cares? But if it's your phone calls, your personal touches, your in person, you really
Mhm.
can't leverage that. I would caution my fellow introverts against trying to find someone to go get you clients unless it's a
Mhm.
very specific kind of automated thing. Uh,
System. Okay.
a system, yeah. But that personal touch is so important because a client's hiring us, they're hiring an individual. Like real estate agents, we're not all that different from one another. Like the good ones who know what they're doing, we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
personality aspect and having that one on one trust with a prospect or a referral
Trust. Yeah.
partner,
Mhm.
that can't be replaced.
Who is there a story that you can remember of someone that you trained or a client of yours that you just like to share with the gals of how you either salvaged something that was going wrong or you've been friends for years because of something that sticks out in your mind that we as realtors, we just getting first time home buyers their first house is always a real for me because they really thank you.
They do. One of my current clients right now is a former client of mine, and I helped them buy their first house 9 years ago. And we actually lost touch. I lost touch for a couple years, and then got back around
Mhm.
and
Back in touch, yeah.
reconnected. And now I'm helping them sell that house and buy the larger, like, family home for the next few decades. And it's just such a lovely thing when somebody comes back and remembers that you did a good job for them and you're their person for their life and for their family too. This particular client, it's a husband and wife, they have two kids now, and his twin brother, I also sold him a house and I met both of them because I sold their mom a house and I met her through the Chamber of Commerce. So all of this comes back to one event, one contact that I made and
I know it was like someone said when I first got started myself, I went to a beach party and one of the gals, it was a big table, people just, I didn't know what I was doing. I honestly didn't know what I was doing. Because I was still teaching, I was still a professor. And so I said, man, I'm just going to get started in this real estate. And one of the gals, Lori, she goes, what are you doing? She goes, well, I need to buy a house. I went, really? I wasn't even trying. I just made the conversation up. I was able to, from that one contact over the next 7 years, I was able to track 52 transactions from that one person because of her influence, sphere of influence, and because we're a big Navy town, big military town. And it just went from one person to the next person to a crew coming in. I had, what, 5 or 6 come in from the Naval Academy, just coming from different places. And some were rentals, but a lot of them were looking into investing and buying that little apartment that they could have and rent it out when they left. And yeah, 52 people. And then one of the gals that was in the group, she went and got her license and she started taking them away. I said, wait a minute, this isn't right. No, I supported her. She worked for me and everything, and I supported her to do it. But yeah, that was like, I couldn't, every time I turned around, they were calling me. Say we're gonna, but they were in that age group that was buying at the time, because they were in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, where in here, Pensacola, that was a time when everyone was buying in and out of the military. They're here for 3 years, they're gone, they're here, so we had a lot of changeover. So that was pretty fun. But like we were talking before we got started, I don't know what's going on since the 1st of April, and what are we on the 2nd of April? The world is going crazy right now. It's nuts. Not just real estate, but it's like everybody's calling and everybody wants your attention. And I said, today I said, I gotta stop. I have to have a break or I'm not gonna make it. But I want to thank you, Ashley, for coming on and sharing some things with us. And I know you said we could find you out by Ashley Harwood. And is there anything else you want to share with us?
I do teach classes and I travel. So if anyone listening wants me to come teach a class on introversion for your office, just let me know.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm going to put that, well, and also I don't want you to see this little cup right here, sip, sell, repeat. I want to get this in the mail to you for swag. So don't hang up on me at the end, because I want to get your address. And thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, mainly ladies here, sip, sell, repeat in real estate is for us to share how whether it's a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or a little cocktail, sharing some ideas about real estate and how we can help each other in this really amazing profession. I think so. So thank you, Ashley, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you.
If you're inspired by these powerful women in real estate, you'll want to catch the next conversation. Click the video on screen to keep sipping, selling, and leveling up your game.